Let me ask you one question. If you found out today that the biggest problem in your life is not outside of you, but hidden inside your own mind, would you have the courage to change it? Because here is the truth. Most people work hard their entire life. They give everything they have. But deep inside, they still feel empty, scared, and lost. They keep going, but they never really feel like they are getting anywhere. And then there are some people who go through the same pain, the same failures, the same difficult situations, and they come out stronger every single time. More powerful than before. Why is that? Do they have some special ability that ordinary people do not have? Or have they discovered something about life that most people never find out? Today, in this video, we are going to talk about the 7 most powerful secrets of life. Secrets that can change the way you think, the way you make decisions, and maybe the direction of your entire life. But I want you to know something before we begin. This video is not just motivation. This is not just feel-good content that you forget after 5 minutes. This video is going to open doors in your mind that you have probably never even tried to open before. And the last rule in this video is the most powerful one of all. Thousands of people, after hearing that one rule, changed the direction of their life forever. Maybe right now you feel like nothing in your life can change. Maybe you have been telling yourself that for a long time. But trust me on this. Sometimes all it takes to change everything is one right thought. Just one. Think about it. What if you could control your fear instead of letting your fear control you? What if you could find the lesson hidden inside every single failure? What if you finally realized that your thoughts are building your destiny every single day? How different would your life look? Maybe you have been thinking of yourself as weak for a long time. But it is possible that your greatest strength has been hiding inside you all along. And this video is going to wake that strength up. So do not leave this video in the middle. Because in the next few minutes you are going to hear the secrets of life that school never taught you, that society never told you, and that most people never figure out their entire life. Put your full attention on this video right now. Remove every distraction, and get ready to see your life from a completely new point of view. If this video connects with you, if even one thing touches your heart, please like this video, subscribe to Bookverse, and press the bell icon so you never miss a single video. Because on this channel, we do not just talk about books. We bring ideas that can change a person from the inside out. So let us begin. The 7 most powerful secrets of life that might just change you forever. Rule number 1. Your thinking shapes your life. Let me tell you something that most people never stop to think about. In this entire world, the most powerful thing a human being possesses is not their body. It is not their money. It is not their connections or their background. The most powerful thing you have is your mind. And the way you use that mind every single day is quietly building the life you are living right now. Here is a simple truth. The way you think is the way you live. If a person spends every day thinking about fear, thinking about weakness, thinking about failure, their life will slowly start to look exactly like those thoughts. But if that same person starts building pictures of strength, confidence, and success inside their mind, the direction of their life starts to change. Quietly, slowly, but surely. This is the first and most powerful rule of this entire book. Your thoughts are not just passing things that come and go. Your thoughts are the blueprint of your life. They are building your future right now, whether you realize it or not. Think about 2 people facing the exact same situation. Same problems, same difficulties, same starting point. But one person falls apart, and the other person uses that same situation to build something remarkable. Why does that happen? It happens because their thinking is different. The person who falls apart looks at every problem and sees danger. They see a reason to stop, a reason to give up, a reason to believe that things will never get better. And because they keep thinking that way, their mind starts working in that direction. Their energy goes toward the problem instead of the solution. And slowly they become exactly what they keep thinking about. The person who rises looks at the exact same problem and sees something different. They see a challenge. They see an opportunity to grow. They see a reason to push harder. And because they keep thinking that way, their mind starts finding answers that the other person never even looked for. Life always changes in the mind first, and then it changes in reality. Think about your own life for a moment. What are the thoughts that run through your mind most often? What do you tell yourself when things get hard? What do you believe about yourself deep down when nobody is watching? If your mind is constantly telling you, "I cannot do this," "My luck is bad," "I do not have enough," "I am not good enough," then your mind will start working in exactly that direction. Your confidence will slowly start to disappear. You will start creating your own limits inside your own head. And those limits will feel more real than any wall in the world. But here is the most important thing. Those limits are not real. They are thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. The day you teach your mind a new language, everything begins to shift. When you start telling yourself, "I can do this," "I am capable of change," "I have strength inside me," your mind immediately starts looking for ways to prove those things right. It starts finding opportunities that it was blind to before. It starts making connections that it could not see before. It starts moving you, slowly and steadily, toward the life those thoughts are describing. You do not lose in life from the outside first. You lose in your mind first. And the person who wins in their own mind is the person that no outside force can stop for long. Think about every successful person you have ever admired. Behind every single one of them, their thinking came first. Before the achievement, before the recognition, before the success that the world could see, there was a thought, a belief, a picture in their mind of what was possible. A person who grows up with nothing becomes wealthy in their mind first. A person who starts out weak becomes strong in their mind first. A person who has been told they cannot do something decides in their mind first that they can. That is how it always works. That is how it has always worked. So if you want your life to change, the very first place to look is not your bank account. It is not your circumstances. It is not other people. The very first place to look is your own thinking. Start building the picture inside your mind of the life you want to see in reality, because your mind starts creating whatever you give your attention to again and again. If you give your attention to fear every single day, fear grows. If you give your attention to your goal every single day, the path toward that goal starts to open up. The biggest secret in this world is this: your life is not decided by what happens around you. It is decided by what happens inside you, by the thoughts you choose to hold, by the words you choose to say to yourself, by the picture you choose to keep in your own mind. So starting today, stop talking to yourself in a negative way. Stop telling yourself that you are weak. Stop believing every doubt that shows up in your head, because the strength that is hidden inside you is probably far greater than anything you have ever given yourself credit for. And it is possible that the change you have been waiting for in your life is not waiting for a better situation or a better opportunity or a better time. It is waiting for one thing: a new thought, a new belief, a new decision about who you are and what you are capable of. Because the day you change the way you think is the day your life begins to change. Rule number 2. Real life begins beyond fear. Every single person on this planet has a wall in their life. Not a wall you can see or touch, but a wall that stops you just as effectively as any physical barrier ever could. For some people, that wall is the fear of failure. For some people, it is the fear of what other people will think. For some people, it is the fear of starting something new. And for some people, it is simply the fear of their own weakness, pulling them back every single time they try to move forward. But here is what this rule says clearly and honestly. Your real life, the life you were actually meant to live, does not begin on this side of that wall. It begins on the other side, beyond the fear, beyond the hesitation, beyond the moment where most people stop. Think about a small child learning to walk for the very first time. That child falls, again and again and again. Every single time they try to stand up, their legs give way. They hit the floor. They feel the discomfort. They feel the frustration. But they do not stop. They do not look at the floor and decide that walking is not for them. They do not give up because falling is uncomfortable. They get back up every single time because something inside them is pulling them forward. And eventually, after all those falls, they walk. And then they run. Now imagine if that child, after the very first fall, decided that the risk was too great, decided that falling was too painful, decided that staying on the floor was safer than trying again. That child would never walk, never run, never experience any of the things that movement makes possible. And that is exactly what most adults do with their dreams. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human life, and it works in a very specific way. It does not attack you from the outside. It works from the inside. It lives in your mind. It speaks in your own voice. And it sounds so believable, so reasonable, so logical that most people never even question it. Fear says, "What if you fail?" Fear says, "What will people think?" Fear says, "You are not ready yet." Fear says, "This is not the right time." And because fear sounds like common sense, most people listen to it. They slow down. They wait. They hesitate. And slowly, without even realizing it, they build their entire life inside the boundaries that fear has drawn for them. And then one day they look back and realize that they have been living in a cage the whole time. Not a cage that anyone else built. A cage that they built themselves, one fearful thought at a time. Here is something that most people do not know about fear. The more you run away from it, the bigger it gets. Every time you avoid the thing that scares you, your mind registers one clear message. This thing is dangerous. Stay away. And each time that message gets recorded, the fear grows a little stronger, and your confidence grows a little weaker. But the opposite is also true. Every single time you face your fear, even just a little bit, even just one small step toward it, your mind registers something different. I survived that. I can handle this. I am stronger than I thought. And each time that message gets recorded, the fear shrinks a little, and your confidence grows a little stronger. This is why the people who achieve great things in life are not people who feel no fear. That is a myth. Every person who has ever done something remarkable felt fear along the way. The difference is not that they did not feel it. The difference is that they moved anyway. They felt the fear, and they took the step forward regardless, because they understood something that most people never figure out. Fear always looks the biggest right before you face it, and the moment you take that step forward, fear starts to shrink. Most dreams in this world die before they are ever tried, not because they were impossible, but because the person who held them let fear make the decision. They asked themselves, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if it does not work out? And those questions felt so heavy, so real, so overwhelming that they never even started. But here is the most important truth about failure and fear. The person who tries and fails is not the most dangerous kind of failure. The most painful kind of failure is the person who never tries at all. Because the person who tries at least has a chance. Every single attempt, no matter how it ends, brings them one step closer to success. But the person who never tries has already decided the outcome before the story even begins. Think about what fear has cost you already. Think about the opportunities you did not take because fear told you not to. Think about the conversations you did not have because fear told you it was not safe. Think about the dreams you put away because fear told you they were too big for someone like you. Now think about what your life could look like if you stopped listening to fear and started moving in spite of it. That is not a fantasy. That is a choice. A choice that is available to you right now in this moment. Because here is what fear does not want you to know. The thing that scares you the most is usually the thing that will change your life the most. The conversation you are most afraid to have is probably the one that needs to happen. The opportunity you are most afraid to take is probably the one that was meant for you. The dream you are most afraid to chase is probably the one that is most truly yours. So from today, stop treating fear like an enemy. Start treating it like a signal. When something scares you, instead of running away, ask yourself, why does this scare me? What is on the other side of this fear? What could my life look like if I faced this and kept going? Because real courage is not the absence of fear. Real courage is making the decision to move forward, even when fear is screaming at you to stop. And the day you make that decision, the day you look your biggest fear directly in the face and take one step toward it anyway, that is the day a new chapter of your life begins. Remember this. Every time you run from your fear, your confidence loses a little ground. But every time you stand and face it, something new is born inside you. A strength that was not there before. A belief in yourself that grows a little stronger with every step you take forward. Your real life is not behind you. It is not waiting for a perfect moment. It is not sitting on the other side of someone else's permission. It is waiting for you, right on the other side of your fear. And the only thing standing between you and that life is the decision to take one step forward today. Rule number 3. Habits decide your destiny. Most people believe that life changes in big dramatic moments. They believe that one day something extraordinary will happen. A big opportunity will arrive. A lucky break will come. And in that one moment, everything will suddenly be different. Everything will suddenly be better. But that is not how life actually works. Life does not change in big dramatic moments. Life changes slowly, quietly, and consistently through the small things you do every single day. And the force behind that change, the thing that is quietly building your future right now, whether you are paying attention to it or not, is your habits. This is the third rule, and it is one of the most important truths in this entire book. Your daily habits are deciding your destiny, not your talent, not your luck, not the family you were born into, or the opportunities that have or have not come your way. Your habits, the small, repeated, daily choices that most people never even think about. Think about this for a moment. If a person decides every single day to become just 1% better than they were yesterday, what happens to that person after one full year? They are not the same person anymore. They have grown in ways that would have seemed impossible when they first started. 1% every single day adds up to something extraordinary over time. But here is the problem. Most people want the big result without changing the small habit. They want to be wealthy, but they do not want to learn consistently. They want to be healthy and strong, but they do not want to build the daily discipline of taking care of their body. They want to be successful, but they do not want to show up and do the work every single day, whether they feel like it or not. And that gap between what people want and what they are willing to do daily is exactly why so many people dream big but live small. Here is something that very few people truly understand. Your life is not built by your big decisions. It is built by your small daily actions. The big decisions matter, of course, but it is what you do every single day in the quiet, ordinary moments that actually determines where you end up. If you stay up too late every night and wake up exhausted every morning, that habit is slowly draining your energy, your focus, and your potential. If you spend hours every day on your phone, scrolling through content that adds nothing to your life, that habit is slowly stealing the time that could have been used to build something meaningful. If you keep putting things off, telling yourself you will start tomorrow, that habit is slowly turning your future into a long list of things you never got around to doing. These things do not seem dangerous because they are small. They do not feel like they are hurting you because the damage is gradual. But over months and years, these small daily habits shape everything. They shape your health, your confidence, your relationships, your finances, and your sense of self-worth. And the same is true in the other direction. If you read something valuable every single day, even for just 20 minutes, that habit is slowly expanding your mind, your knowledge, and your ability to think clearly. If you work on your most important goal every day, even for just 1 hour, that habit is slowly building the life you actually want to live. If you take care of your body every day, even in small ways, that habit is slowly building the energy and strength you need to show up fully for everything else in your life. Small things, done consistently, are the most powerful force in human life. Not grand gestures, not once-in-a-while efforts. Consistent, daily, small actions repeated over time. Now here is something that the most successful people in the world understand, that most ordinary people do not. Successful people do not wait to feel motivated before they take action. They do not wake up every morning and ask themselves whether they feel like doing the work today. They do their work because it is their habit, because they have built a system, a daily routine that runs almost automatically, regardless of how they feel in the moment. Motivation is a feeling, and like all feelings, it comes and goes. Some days you will feel incredibly motivated. Other days you will feel like doing absolutely nothing. If you wait for motivation to show up before you take action, you will spend most of your life waiting. Real progress does not come from motivation. Real progress comes from discipline, and discipline is nothing more than good habits, practiced consistently over time. Look at your own daily habits right now, honestly and clearly. What do you do every morning when you wake up? How do you spend the first hour of your day? What do you do with your evenings? What small actions are you repeating day after day without even thinking about them? Because those habits right there are building your future. They are either taking you closer to the life you want or further away from it. There is no neutral ground. Every single habit is either working for you or working against you. Success does not arrive suddenly. It is not a surprise that shows up at your door one day. It is the natural result of small good habits, practiced every single day for a long enough period of time. And failure does not arrive suddenly either. It is also the result of small bad habits, practiced every single day until they become the shape of a life. So if you want to change your life, do not look for the big dramatic moment. Do not wait for the lucky break. Start with one small habit. Just one. Something small enough that you can do it every single day without fail. And then do it tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Because the most powerful thing you can do for your future is not one big action today. It is one small right action repeated every single day for the rest of your life. Your destiny is not written in the stars. It is written in your daily habit. And the good news is that habits can be changed. Starting today. Starting right now. Starting with one small decision to do things just a little bit differently than you did yesterday. Because the life you want is not hiding behind a big opportunity. It is hiding inside your daily routine. And it has been there, waiting for you all along. Rule number 4. Understand the value of time. Let me ask you something very simple. What is the most valuable thing in your life right now? Most people will say money. Some will say health. Some will say relationship. And all of those things are important. All of those things matter deeply. But none of them is the most valuable thing you have. The most valuable thing you have is time. And here is why. Money, if you lose it, can be earned back. Health, if you lose it, can often be recovered with effort and care. Relationships, if they break, can sometimes be repaired. But time, once it is gone forever. Not one single second of it can ever be brought back. Not for any amount of money. Not for any amount of effort. Not for anything in this world. Every minute that passes is a minute that belongs to your past, permanently and completely. And yet, most people treat time as if they have an unlimited supply of it. They waste it carelessly. They give it away without thinking. They spend it on things that add nothing to their life. And then one day they look back and realize with a heavy heart that the years went by so fast, and they have so little to show for them. That realization is one of the most painful things a human being can experience. And the saddest part is that it is completely avoidable. Think about this. Every single person alive today gets exactly the same amount of time each day. Not one person gets more, and not one person gets less. 24 hours. That is it. That is what every human being on this planet receives, every single morning, without exception. The same 24 hours that are given to the person who is building something extraordinary are also given to the person who is going nowhere. The same 24 hours that belong to the most productive and successful people in the world also belong to the people who spend their days complaining, scrolling, and waiting for something to change. The time is identical. What is different is the choice each person makes about how to use it. Some people use their time to learn something new every day, to work on their goals, to build their skills, to invest in their future, to take one small step forward every single day toward the life they want to create. And over months and years, all of those small daily investments of time add up to something remarkable. Other people spend their time on things that feel comfortable in the moment, but add nothing to their life in the long run. Hours on their phone looking at other people's lives. Hours in conversations that go nowhere. Hours waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the right conditions, before they start doing what they know they need to do. And the most dangerous habit of all is the one that almost everyone is guilty of at some point. The habit of saying, "I will start tomorrow." Those 4 words, "I will start tomorrow," have quietly killed more dreams, more goals, more potential than almost anything else in human history. Because tomorrow never really comes. Tomorrow always becomes today, and today always becomes another tomorrow, and before you know it, years have passed, and the thing you were going to start tomorrow is still sitting exactly where you left it. People tell themselves that they have plenty of time. They think, "I am still young. I will get to it later." There is no rush. But time does not wait for anyone. It does not slow down because you are not ready. It does not pause because you are comfortable where you are. Keeps moving every single second, whether you are using it well or not. And every single day that passes is either taking you closer to the life you want or further away from it. There is no standing still. Time does not allow for standing still. Now here is something that successful people understand, that most people do not. Successful people are not successful because they have more time than everyone else. Nobody has more time. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. Successful people are successful because they treat their time differently. They treat it like it is precious, because they know that it is. They do not waste hours on things that do not matter. They do not give their most valuable hours, the hours when their mind is sharpest and their energy is highest, to things that bring no return. They protect their time like it is the most important resource they have, because it is. Think about what you could build if you took just 2 hours every single day and gave those 2 hours completely and honestly to your most important goal. Not half attention, not distracted attention, full honest focused attention for 2 hours every single day. In 1 year, that is over 700 hours invested directly into the thing that matters most to you. 700 hours of focused effort in any direction will produce results that will genuinely surprise you. It will change you. It will change your skills, your confidence, your knowledge, and the direction of your life. But only if you actually use those hours, instead of letting them disappear into distractions and delays. The problem is not that people do not have time. The problem is that people give their time away to things that do not deserve it. And then they wonder why their life does not look the way they want it to look. Your phone will always have something new to show you. There will always be another video to watch, another post to scroll past, another notification to check. Other people will always have opinions about how you should spend your time. Distractions will always be available in unlimited supply, 24 hours a day. But your time is not unlimited, and every hour you give to something that does not matter is an hour you are taking away from something that does. So starting today, make a decision about your time. Not a vague decision. A real, specific, honest decision. Decide what your most important goal is right now. Decide how many hours each day you are going to give to that goal. And then protect those hours like they are the most valuable thing you own. Because they are. Do not wait for the right time to start. The right time is not coming. The right time is not something that happens to you. The right time is something you create through your own decisions, your own discipline, and your own commitment to using the time you have, as well as it can possibly be used. Because the people who change their lives are not the people who had more time than everyone else. They are the people who decided that the time they had was worth using well. And that decision is available to you right now, today. Rule number 5. Learn to believe in yourself. Let me tell you something that I want you to really sit with for a moment. In this entire world, the greatest power a human being can have is not money. It is not fame. It is not talent. It is not even hard work. The greatest power a human being can have is the belief in themselves. The deep, quiet, unshakable conviction that they are capable of something, that they are worth something, that they have what it takes to build the life they want. Because here is the truth. If you do not believe in yourself, nothing else will work. You can have the best opportunity in the world sitting right in front of you, and you will not be able to take it. You can have people around you who believe in you completely, and their belief will not be enough. You can work hard every single day and still feel like you are going nowhere. Because without self-belief, everything else loses its power. But when you truly believe in yourself, everything changes. The same obstacles that used to stop you start to look like challenges you can overcome. The same fears that used to freeze you start to feel like things you can face. The same goals that used to feel impossible start to feel like things that are genuinely within your reach. That is the power of self-belief. And this is the 5th rule. Now here is something honest that needs to be said. Most people do not believe in themselves. Not really. Not deeply. They might say the right things out loud. They might appear confident to the people around them. But inside, in the quiet, private moments, when they are alone with their own thoughts, they carry a voice that constantly questions them. A voice that says, "You are not good enough. You are not smart enough. You are not talented enough. You do not deserve the things you want. Other people can do this, but not you." And that voice is the most dangerous enemy you will ever face. Not because it is loud, but because it sounds like the truth. Where does that voice come from? It comes from years of experiences, from times when you tried something and it did not work out, from words that people said to you when you were young and impressionable that stayed with you long after those people forgot they ever said them, from failures that felt so painful that your mind decided it was safer to stop trying than to risk feeling that pain again. And over time, all of those experiences, all of those words, all of those failures stacked up inside you and built a picture of yourself that is much smaller and much weaker than who you actually are. But here is what I want you to understand. That picture is not the truth. It is just a story that was written by your past, and you have the power to write a new one. Think about every great person you have ever admired. Every person who ever built something remarkable, overcame something impossible, or changed the world in some way. Every single one of them started exactly where you are right now. As an ordinary person, with doubts, with fears, with a voice inside them that questioned whether they were enough. The difference is not that they were born with more confidence than everyone else. The difference is that they made a decision to keep believing in themselves, even when the evidence around them said they should not. When people told them they would fail, they kept going. When they failed, they got back up. When the world ignored them, they kept showing up. Because they held on to one thing that nobody could take from them: their belief in themselves. Now, self-belief is not something that appears fully formed one day out of nowhere. It is not something you either have or you do not. It is something you build, slowly, deliberately, and consistently through your actions. Every time you face a small fear and move through it anyway, your self-belief grows a little stronger. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, your self-belief grows a little stronger. Every time you try something difficult and push through the discomfort, your self-belief grows a little stronger. Every time you choose to get back up after being knocked down, your self-belief grows a little stronger. It is not built in the big dramatic moments. It is built in the quiet, everyday moments when you choose yourself over your excuses. There will be times in your life when nobody believes in you, when the people closest to you cannot see what you are trying to build, when the world seems completely indifferent to your efforts, when every sign around you seems to be saying, "Give up, it is not working, you were wrong about yourself." Those are the most important moments of your life, because in those moments the only thing that will keep you going is your own belief in yourself. Not someone else's encouragement, not external validation. Your own quiet, steady, unshakable decision to keep going anyway. The world has a very specific way of treating people. Treats you the way you treat yourself. If you show up with doubt and apology and smallness, the world will respond accordingly. It will overlook you. It will underestimate you. It will give you exactly as much as you believe you deserve. But if you show up with belief, with confidence, with the quiet certainty that you have something valuable to offer, the world begins to respond differently. Opportunities that were invisible before start to appear. People who can help you start to notice you. Doors that were closed start to open. Not because the world suddenly became kinder, but because you changed how you were showing up in it. So starting today, make one decision. Stop waiting for other people to believe in you first. Stop waiting for the world to validate you before you allow yourself to feel worthy. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into the small picture that fear and failure have painted of you. Because that picture is wrong. You are more capable than you know. You are stronger than your hardest day. You are more resilient than your worst failure. And the potential that is sitting inside you right now, waiting to be used, is far greater than anything you have given yourself credit for. Start talking to yourself differently. Start treating yourself like someone who is worth believing in. Start showing up for your own goals with the same energy and commitment that you would show up for someone you deeply love and respect. Because the most important relationship in your life is the one you have with yourself. And the day you decide to make that relationship one of genuine belief, genuine respect, and genuine commitment is the day everything else begins to change. The world is waiting for the version of you that believes in yourself, and that version is closer than you think. Rule number 6. Failure is the path to success. Let me ask you something honest. What is the one thing that stops more people from living the life they want more than anything else in the world? It is not lack of talent. It is not lack of opportunity. It is not bad luck or difficult circumstances or the wrong timing. The one thing that stops more people more completely and more permanently than anything else is the fear of failure. People are so afraid of failing that they never try. They never start the business. They never have the conversation. They never apply for the opportunity. They never take the first step toward the thing they want most. Because somewhere in their mind, they have decided that failing would be so painful, so embarrassing, so final, that it is better to never try at all than to risk going through that experience. And in doing that, they make the saddest trade in human life. They trade the possibility of everything for the guaranteed safety of nothing. But this rule says something that changes everything if you truly understand it. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the path to success. It is not a wall that blocks you from where you want to go. It is the road that takes you there. Think about a child again. A child who is learning to walk for the very first time. That child falls down, not once, not twice, but dozens and dozens of times. Every single attempt ends on the floor. Every single effort results in the same outcome, the ground. But nobody looks at that child and says, "You are a failure." Nobody tells that child, "Maybe walking is just not for you." Nobody suggests that the child should give up and spend the rest of their life sitting on the floor because they have fallen too many times. Because everyone understands, intuitively and naturally, that falling is not the problem. Falling is the process. Falling is how the child learns. Falling is how the child's legs get stronger. Falling is how the child's balance improves. Falling is how the child eventually walks, and then runs, and then one day moves through the world as if they were born knowing how. And then we grow up, and somewhere along the way we forget that lesson completely. We start to believe that falling is shameful, that failing means we are not good enough, that if we try something and it does not work, it says something permanent and damaging about who we are. And so we stop falling. We stop trying. We stay safely on the floor, and we call it being realistic. But the truth is the same as it always was. Falling is the process. Failure is the teacher. And the only real failure in life is the decision to stop trying. Think about the most successful people in history. Think about the inventors, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders, the athletes who changed the world. Every single one of them has a story of failure. Not one failure, not two, but repeated, significant, sometimes devastating failure. Failure that cost them money. Failure that cost them relationship. Failure that cost them years of their life. Failure that made the people around them question whether they were wasting their time. But here is what made those people different from the people who gave up. They did not look at failure and see the end of their story. They looked at failure and saw information. They asked themselves, "What did this teach me? What do I now know that I did not know before? How does this failure bring me closer to the answer I am looking for?" And with that question, every failure became a step forward. Every setback became a lesson. Every painful experience became a piece of knowledge that made the next attempt stronger, smarter, and more likely to succeed. That is the real secret of failure. It is not your enemy. It is your most honest teacher. It shows you exactly where you need to grow. It shows you exactly what is not working. It shows you the gaps in your knowledge, the weaknesses in your approach, and the adjustments you need to make with a clarity that success never could. Because success feels good, but it does not always teach you much. Failure, on the other hand, is full of lessons. It is uncomfortable, yes. It is painful, yes. But inside every failure, there is specific, honest, valuable information that you cannot get any other way. Here is something else that most people never consider. Easy success actually makes you weaker. When things come too easily, when you never have to struggle, when you never have to face difficulty and push through it, you do not develop the strength and the resilience that real, lasting success requires. But hard struggle, real difficulty, genuine failure that you face and learn from and keep going after, that builds something inside you that nothing else can build. It builds character. It builds resilience. It builds the kind of deep inner strength that allows you to handle anything life puts in front of you. The people that history remembers are almost never the people who had it easy. They are the people who had it hard and kept going anyway. The people who fell and got back up. The people who failed and tried again. The people who heard no and found another way. The people who were told they could not do it and did it anyway. Those are the people who change things. Those are the people who build things. Those are the people who leave something behind that matters. So the next time you fail, and you will fail, because everyone who tries anything meaningful will fail, do not treat it as a sign that you should stop. Treat it as a sign that you are in the process. You are on the path. You are doing the thing that most people are too afraid to do. You are trying. Ask yourself one question. What is this failure teaching me? Write down the answer, and then use that answer to make your next attempt better than the last one. Because here is the most important truth about failure and success. They are not two separate roads, going in opposite directions. They are the same road. And the only way to reach success is to walk straight through failure, learn everything it has to teach you, and keep moving forward. The person who fails and quits never finds out how close they were. But the person who fails and keeps going almost always discovers that success was just one more attempt away. Do not quit before that attempt. Rule number 7. Never give up. We have arrived at the final rule, and I want you to pay very close attention to this one, because this rule is not just another piece of advice. This is the rule that holds every other rule together. This is the rule that decides whether everything we have talked about in this video actually changes your life or stays as just another set of ideas that you heard once and eventually forgot. This is the rule that separates the people who build something remarkable from the people who almost did. Never give up. Now I know what you might be thinking. That sounds simple. That sounds like something you have heard 100 times before. Something people say on posters and in speeches and in motivational videos. Something that is easy to say, but means very little in the real moments of life, when things are genuinely hard, and giving up feels like the only reasonable option left. But stay with me, because what I want to share with you goes much deeper than a simple phrase. Most people start things with enormous energy. They set a goal. They feel the excitement of a new beginning. They make the decision with full sincerity and full intention that this time will be different. This time they will follow through. This time they will not stop until they get where they want to go. And then life happens. The first difficulty arrives. The first setback shows up. The first sign that this is going to be harder than they thought. And something shifts. The excitement fades a little. The energy drops a little. The doubts start to grow a little louder. And slowly, without even making a conscious decision to quit, they just stop. They get busy with other things. They tell themselves they will come back to it later. And later never comes. And just like that, another dream joins the long list of things that almost happened. This is not a story about weak people. This is a story about human beings, about the way our minds work and the way life tests us, because life does test you, not to be cruel, but because the things that are worth having require you to become the kind of person who is capable of having them, and becoming that person requires going through difficulty without quitting. Think about a seed planted deep in the ground. That seed is surrounded by complete darkness. It cannot see the sun. It cannot see the open air. It cannot see any evidence that anything good is coming. For days and weeks it sits in the cold, dark soil, with nothing around it but pressure and silence. And if that seed could think, it might very reasonably conclude that nothing is working, that it is stuck, that it will never reach the light. But something is happening that the seed cannot see. Roots are growing downward. Strength is being built. The foundation is being laid for everything that comes next. And one day, after all that unseen growth in the darkness, the first tiny shoot pushes through the surface of the soil and reaches toward the sun. Your life works the same way. There will be periods, sometimes long periods, where you are working and trying and pushing, and you cannot see any evidence that it is working. No result. no recognition, no sign that your efforts are making any difference at all. And in those periods, the temptation to quit will be stronger than it has ever been. Because when you cannot see progress, it is very easy to conclude that there is no progress, that you were wrong, that it is not going to work, that you should stop. But most of the time, that conclusion is wrong. Most of the time, the progress is there. It is just underground. It is just invisible. It is just building the roots that will eventually support everything that grows above the surface. And the people who quit in those periods quit right before the breakthrough. They stop right at the moment when one more step forward would have changed everything. This is one of the most heartbreaking truths about giving up. You almost never know how close you were. The person who quits does not get to find out that success was just around the corner. They only know that they stop, and they carry that with them. But the person who keeps going finds out. They push through the dark period. They keep showing up when there is no evidence that it is working. They keep trying when every logical voice in their head is telling them to stop. And they discover, on the other side of that decision, that it was worth it, that the roots they were growing in the darkness were real, and that the life they kept believing in was waiting for them all along. Now here is something very important to understand. Never giving up does not mean never changing direction. It does not mean stubbornly continuing to do the exact same thing, even when it is clearly not working. It means never giving up on the goal, on the dream, on the belief that you are capable of something meaningful. You can change your approach. You can change your strategy. You can learn from what is not working and try something different. That is not quitting. That is wisdom. That is exactly what the most successful people do when they face obstacles. They adapt. They adjust. They find another way. But they do not abandon the goal. Quitting is when you decide that the goal itself was wrong, that you were wrong for wanting it, that you do not deserve it, that it is simply not possible for someone like you. And that decision almost always is a lie, because the truth is that the most extraordinary lives in human history were built by ordinary people who simply refused to quit. People who had every reason to stop and chose not to. People who were tired and kept going. People who were scared and kept going. People who failed repeatedly and painfully and kept going. People who had nobody in their corner and kept going anyway. Those people are not mythical figures. They are not a different species. They are people, just like you, who made one decision that changed everything. The decision to keep going, one more day, one more attempt, one more step forward, no matter what. So whatever you are facing right now, whatever difficulty is in front of you, whatever voice in your head is telling you that it is time to stop, I want you to remember this. The darkest moment of your journey is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are in the middle. And the middle is not where the story ends. Your story is not finished. Your potential is not used up. Your best chapter has not been written yet. So keep going. Not because it is easy. Not because you are certain it will work. But because you have decided that the life you are trying to build is worth fighting for. And because the version of you that never gave up is the version that the world has been waiting to meet.